Welcome to Philly Coco Presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 100. This is developers' journey to making cool stuff. I'm Kotaro.
Steve.
I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Coco Heads community focused on Apple development. That primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. Whew, all right.
Yeah.
Episode 100.
I know. I can't believe it.
You can't believe it. I swear we would have a very special episode where we prepped dramatically and we spent a lot of time getting everything ready. But in typical,
it wouldn't be us.
it wouldn't be us, right? We've done literally maybe 2 minutes of planning for this.
Yeah. What's funny is that the timing of this works out because we're the first episode number 1 was published October 9th, 2021. And we're recording this on October 22nd, 2025. It's a little more than 4 years we've been doing this podcast.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty wild. So I guess, we're going to be vibecasting this a little bit, but in a sense that in broad strokes, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about sort of step back a little bit and sort of review where we've been. And
do a retrospective like you do at the end of a, maybe you do at the end of a project or something.
Yeah.
Not that we're saying we're ending this project. I'm saying that episode 100 is just a arbitrary number, but it's a good round number to look back on what came before and see what may be ahead.
And so,
trying to be poetic,
as we do, and we're really good at. So I was thinking one of the things, the reason why we even started this thing in the first place, this podcast, was so that it would be a accountability podcast. I think one of the things that was in Philly Coco that we sort of struggled with was sort of kind of getting back into one of the spirits of what we were doing as Side Project Saturdays was everybody would come in real life to an office space, and we'd all just sit down and work on our own side projects. And because this was during the dreaded COVID years, we kind of got away from that and tried to be a little more just talk about whatever was on our mind, or maybe we had some topic around some Apple tech. But you never got into what made Side Project special, Side Project Saturday special, which was everybody there was trying to make something. And
yeah.
And everybody was there to help each other.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So one of the things, the spirit of this was to say, okay, we want to build something, want to get back into the roots of what it is to get into something. So the first project we decided to do was the one that was actually born from Side Project Saturday. I think, Aaron, you and I had kind of worked on iterations of this, right?
Yeah. I forget how many versions we made.
We made like a UI kit. So basically, it was like a flashcard app for kanji characters, because my kanji is horrible and I wanted some sort of flashcard. And I think we went online looking for, was it an XML? I forgot. There was a database of kanji characters that we were able to extract the data from.
Yeah, but I think that wasn't until we started on the Watch project. I don't know what we did for the previous versions.
Okay, because I know there was like some kind of way so that you were able to extract using Python.
Yeah, but that was only in the final version that we actually shipped. Yeah, I don't remember what
was
we
it called
did
when we shipped it
for.
Kanji Love.
Kanji Love, that's right.
Yeah. And that one was kind of funny because like it iterated from a UI kit app where we did some bizarro flashcard thing. I don't know if that was collection view or something that we were doing some magic with. And then when SwiftUI came out, we made an iteration of that in SwiftUI. Although it was during the period of time where SwiftUI was, according to Steve, Hot Wax garbage.
It was terrible. Yeah, the Kanji Flash app is where I started learning, for real SwiftUI, because you guys knew more, use it more, but I was still deep in Objective-C land in 2021, over 2021. I was still mostly in that, doing some little bit of Swift, I think, but I didn't like SwiftUI much. I thought it was just not, and I think it's true. It wasn't really that baked that well then. Even Swift, I wasn't like super keen on back then, but it was SwiftUI that I had like the biggest problems with. But then this app, for me, the biggest benefit I got out of this app was like I finally got on something. It was a small project, which I think is something we talked about before. When you're doing a side project, just in general, you should probably keep them small. But when you're trying to like learn a whole bunch of stuff or learn something very new, having it be a small, surface area was helpful, because this was just a watchOS app. You literally couldn't use the full suite of SwiftUI stuff anyway. So it helped me get up to speed a bit on SwiftUI. So I liked it, and I didn't learn any kanji though, really. But that's my fault.
Gotta
download skill
the app
issues that they say. The kids say it's a skill issue because I didn't use it enough. But it's cool. It actually is available, right? It's still published. It's on Aaron's account.
Yeah, I don't think it's been updated since we shipped it, but I think you could still download it.
It's still there.
Working.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah, and it works well. I mean,
it does. It's like a little flip effect. I like it. It looks good. It's a good UI.
Yeah, I mean, it was the whole purpose. The whole purpose of those was almost like a pseudo sprint of like, I guess you were like, every 2 weeks we would get back together and like figure out what we still needed to do. So we spent a fair amount of time kind of going in that route. And then when we were done with the project, we had like a fair bit of time where we were trying to figure out our next project. And we were trying to do like various different conversations around whether there'd be a Vision Pro, Vision OS type of project, or we were trying to, we did a few interviews with like our colleague who did the grocery timer app. And I think we had one, Azam Mohammed, with his education programs for and tutorials. That was a huge get for us. I think we're kind of all over the place in that sense.
Yeah, but this is also where we started building our lore. So if you've been following every podcast that lasts long enough has lore. Okay, and we have our own lore. And
what is our lore?
You can start identifying the lore in here. Like I think it's when we get to episode 10 is when we our first bit of, because this is the one called number 10, orange balls. And I know that for a fact we have used the term orange bouncing balls like many times. I think this is the one where we were I think that's where we started. We were trying to use Vision Pro stuff and just make like an orange ball that floated in the air and stuff like that. And to me, that's like the orange ball thing is when our lore started. We started like coining our weird terms.
I mean, I feel like the progression of the intro, which I'm cringing right now to think of like what that sounds like when we first started to like where we are now with sort of like our more, I wouldn't call it refined, but definitely like, our intro and outro is consistently the same now. And I think for a while we were doing like with the one more thing, it wasn't like shout outs, it was like random programmer dad jokes.
Well, yeah, there was random programmer dad jokes, yeah. And
I feel like I should get back into that.
We had we called it the not a sponsor.
Yeah, right.
Sponsor segment.
Still no sponsors.
What was that? Yeah.
Still no sponsors.
Still no sponsors. Yeah.
We still never been sponsored. But we also, we did the Kanji Love, and we did do some interviews. And so some of our most popular episodes actually come from this era. If I'm looking at our analytics here, some of them are from some of the top ones, like the fifth most popular episode from March of 2022 was episode 12, which was a grocery timer with Arpit, where we talked to him about his grocery timer.
Yes.
And that one was like, man, that was probably our top episode for quite a while. It only was recently overcome by episodes from 2024, one of them from 2023, but like it wasn't until like the next year that something got more. So it was that was a good episode. The interviews were cool. We did a few of them, as you were saying. And I think maybe since we're vibing this, we're not going to stick to a specific script here, but I think that some more interviews might be good to bring in the next version of this pod, version, I guess, 5, if we're going by years. We should just have seasons. We said seasons will be version numbers.
Why not?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess. Wait, are you saying seasons for each year? Each year counts as a season.
Yeah. So some pods have seasons. Like you can actually create a season in your feed, and then the podcast apps will change their UI to show you.
Can you do that retroactively?
You can. I think you have to maybe update every single episode metadata.
So the first 100 episodes is season 1, and then the next season will be.
Yeah, you could just change it on the next episode.
Shorter.
But it was originally, I think the concept was meant for podcasts that were actually like shows that had like X number of episodes planned, and then there would be a new season, because that was a thing back in the day. But anyway, as I was saying,
I was assuming that we actually had a plan.
Well, we didn't. We didn't have a plan again. We just kind of started doing this, and I'm looking through the list. If you go to podcast.phillycoca.org, you can look at the same list I'm looking at, which is our entire feed here. And you can go back in time and see, based on our titles, how like we even have one called "Spinning Our Wheels," number 11. We started like, we immediately went off. We were building this thing and we kind of like completely lost the plot for a while. Then we went on to like a month of some interviews and other topics. And we like 2 months, we finally got back to it and finished it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm surprised how quick we shipped that watch app.
Did we? Yeah.
Compared to our later projects.
Which episode was the one? Is it 7? It was the release day, so that was
January of 2022.
So was that? Wow, that's actually quite fast.
That was only number 7.
Yeah,
episode 7 we shipped it, and then we had this long period where we're just like, we don't know what we're doing,
meandering.
But we have other good titles. Now we're just like, we're just gonna read titles to the audience, and that'll be really entertaining. But
I mean, there's a-hole mode. I like that one.
A-hole mode.
Jira is trying to kill you. What was that one about?
What do you think?
I don't. These are what I mean by the lore. Just like a lot of these are just terms that are coined on the pod, where Jira is trying to kill you. That was episode number 24.
I forgot a Pickle Jar app.
No, I was trying to remember when we started that. We started.
Yeah, that was our failed attempt at a to-do list app, I think, right? Was it a to-do? It was like a...
sort of. It's like a habits.
It kind of evolved into this like habit tracker app, and we got as far as like a lot of designs ideas on it, but we didn't really build much of code for that, I think. And then we kind of dropped off of it.
Gilligan's Dynamic Island. That's
but amazing. We did have code for that. We had some interesting UI. We might want to come back to that one because
the original concept for that was that it was supposed to be a Mac app.
Yes, it was supposed to be a Mac app.
Wow. Yes. Was it? Were we trying to make it like a document-based app, or was it going to be like a Swift data type app?
I think we have this whole podcast history. If only we could like figure out where in the list we had done this.
I'm looking through my sketch files. I'm like, did I design any of this?
What month did the sketch files? So we had the Pickle Jar To Do is what we were calling it at the time, and it was based on I think there was like some videos I had seen about habit trackers. And Pickle Jar, Pickle Jar originally, it was like I think I had mentioned this system that I had used kind of in the past to kind of prioritize stuff, and it's not just me, but it's like a pickle jar prioritization system where you think about your priorities as stuff that fits in a pickle jar, and like the big rocks in a pickle jar, your big things, and then you fill in like smaller amounts of like pebbles and then sand, and then like represents your priorities.
Do you mind if I quickly share my sketch view?
Yeah, do it for the listening audience.
Yeah, for the listening audience. But
this was app number 2 officially, which we didn't launch it yet. But I think the problem was we wanted to make a macOS app, right? And Swift UI. And honestly, I think Swift UI was not fully baked for this.
I know what I was trying to do here. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it. So on the screen, we could see this like Mac. Looks like a
split screen,
a split screen,
Mac app
and it has some square cards or something with buttons on them. It says like 25 push-ups, yes, no. And yeah, so the idea is you would say whether you did it or not, and then we were tracking it. We had different UI to kind of show you, and it's kind of in this. I think we should maybe return to this app because it actually has a lot of cool design ideas in here that might work well with liquid glass on top.
Well, it's funny
kind
here,
of
like this
pseudo paper look we were going for this.
Right.
Like a
and
notebook.
This one here, this was like supposed to be like one of these not dividers. What do you call those things that meant to like placeholder or something like that, where you like a rubber band?
A bookmark.
Thank you. Like
yeah. It was supposed to be like look like. So this is because some of the sources for this when we started this we started this looks like in episode 15 we revealed this app idea, and some of the stuff that I remember talking about, I don't know if it was in this episode or after that, but there was like some videos I saw about a habit tracking system on paper that we were kind of mimicking in the UI, where you would write out the thing you want a habit on, and you would you create like little boxes and you would check them off with different kinds of check marks. Kind of like, I guess it's either related to or a precursor or something similar to the idea of a bullet journal, because I didn't get into bullet journal ideas until after this. But the idea is like, our UI had a grid, and then it would be marked with different symbols. Kind of obvious, but yeah, we had review notes.
I love these review notes. It's like, I'm a loser.
My dog ate
I'm
it.
lazy. My dog ate it.
Well,
what was I thinking with these comps? Oh, these
making
were
sure
like
we don't get a big
any
head.
notes to add, like reasons for failure or explanation.
Yeah, so you would put in your habits, and then you track whether you did them or not, and then you'd have a visualization like on a grid, of the days of the month, whatever, to see if you did them, and then you could create little reviews, so you could say, on this day, like, why didn't I do it? The whole point was you want to be able to look back on this like a bullet journal style and just say, like, why didn't I do this thing on that day? That was the main reason. But yeah, I guess you could have other notes, but you would review it and say, like, oh, on the 9th, I didn't do my planned thing because I'm lazy, it says here. But probably you'd say something like, maybe I was sick or whatever. And the idea is just like with a bullet journal, if you ever looked at the bullet journal system, you can review it, but because it's like this concise kind of journaling system with just literally like bullets, you can kind of look back at it and be able to consume it and kind of get a feel for what was going on without it being overly encumbered with lots of detail like you might have with a more narrative journaling style. And so that was the whole point of this, to be able to do it and then be able to look back at how well you did and kind of understand the reasons why you were more successful or less successful in what you were trying to do. And so the whole concept really evolved over the course of multiple episodes, because it started one way and it kind of kept going. And then we just kind of dropped it. It kind of fizzled out. I think Dub came up, and then we just kind of, what do we do? We started looking at, oh God,
was that when Vision Pro came out or no?
Yeah. Maybe we got a little overzealous. It was like, why don't we do it on Vision Pro?
We started getting overly ambitious.
Yeah.
And that's when we started, and then we kind of meandered and we like lost the plot a little bit. But
yeah, for sure.
That is okay, because that's another thing you have to understand about side projects is you're not necessarily going to get them all done, or not right away. Maybe you come back to them later. But we still learned a lot, I think, doing that. We did a lot of interesting research, some interesting design studies in there. You made some mock-ups. We did write code. We did. I mean, I think we wrote some kind of code. It just didn't do a whole lot. I have to go find the project. I remember trying to getting like grids and stuff to work.
You were going to say something?
No, I was just saying how the Kanji app took like 3 iterations. So
yeah, that's true.
But the only way we shipped it that fast was because we'd like explored the idea a bunch of times and really refined it. And then it was just like executing it. So we probably want to figure out what we want to build with that.
So do we want to go back to building that crazy, that the other crazy idea with the robot? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I don't know, Steve.
We talked about it, I think, a bit on the pod. I remember talking to you about it at Side Project.
Oh
you guys had an idea of this robot fighting game where you were using gestures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it like a Kinect style game where you were using a camera? Like what was reading the gestures?
No, it wasn't gestures. It was voice commands.
Right, it was voice commands.
You could do this really easily with Foundation Model now.
Big O, yeah.
Yeah, Foundation Model, could you do this super easily?
You're right.
Because
so
we were using like IBM Watson API back. This was like pre-LLM transformer stuff.
So what was crazy is like
now we could probably do it pretty easily.
We used the Watch app, and this was even pre like SwiftUI. So we used the Watch app.
This was pre-pod mostly, right?
Yeah. This is like during Side Project Saturday days where we were like in real life. We were like, oh, I got this ridiculous idea. And Aaron would actually humor me on this ridiculous idea. It's like, what if, right? We could be like Big O and like have, it's like Dick Tracy. We have the, we make the command, voice command, we voice our command in our watch. The watch will translate it, convert the speech to text, use speech to text to convert it to text, send the data to my iPhone, for which the iPhone...
No, you couldn't do speech to text on the watch. I think you had to send audio.
We had to send the audio? Really?
Yeah.
I felt like that was worse. Okay. Yeah. So we send the audio, then that did the speech to text, right? And then that would send that text to the Watson. Watson would say, oh, this is your intent. You mean to go left. The iPhone would send the left command to the Sprite Kit game, Apple TV game, for which then had a little robot that would actually, like, that I drew horribly and, like, had it on, like, rigged in, like, a puppeteer kind of thing. I don't even know if we have any screenshots anymore.
Yeah, you could probably just do this directly as an Apple TV app. You wouldn't need any...
We use like peer-to-peer. We use like multi-peer connectivity to make sure like we had two iPhones two phones that could connect to the game. One could control player one and player two. It's a fighting robot game.
Hey man, maybe we should do that game. I don't know that.
Oh my God.
But we could do it now. I bet it worked a lot easier now with an LLM.
Yeah, all the control system would be super easy.
Now,
super easy.
No, it would. But
no, use like we'd actually,
model, man. I mean, we'd solved that part before. It was like, oh, now we actually have to design a fun game around it.
Well, yeah, that's the easy part right now. Designing a fun game is like the thing that is
right. That's
one of the hardest
so that's
things
what
in
we're
all
up to.
of
We had this silly control scheme with all these parts, and that worked. But it's like we didn't get as far as actually making a game around it.
It would be hilarious if we could figure out building a robot that would fire, like if you give it a command like flamethrower, like it would do that it would like do like the flamethrower mechanic.
Well, you would have like your different weapons could have different stats, obviously, and different like cooldown and timers on them. So you could trigger stuff, but then you have to wait for them to come back online, and so I could see you building a mechanic around that kind of thing. And then your strategy would have to be to like understand what the weapons did, and against your enemy, and then understanding the cooldown times and such. Maybe that could be some kind of mechanic.
It would be hilarious, actually. I would be curious to see.
We could look at RPGs as inspiration.
I would be curious to see if we could program the robot. Not program. What is it? Give the robot the personality of a really, not sarcastic, what would be the term? It's like it would do your command, but it would respond in a very like, that's a stupid idea.
Yeah.
It would insult you at the same time and just be like, I guess you're going to do this, but I'm telling you this is a stupid idea. And it would do the rocket punch.
I'm thinking now in my head, Culturo, for the mechanics, we just copy Chrono Trigger's mechanics. Because if
I'd never played that game.
I mean, I don't know if Chrono Trigger was like the first RPG to do this. That's the one that I remember the most. It had a pretty simple battle mechanics. It was semi real time, So it was still turn-based, but things could everything had basically a timer, like a cooldown timer once you did something before you could do something again. And then obviously you would use like different points for magic or whatever, and then you could do combos and stuff like that. But like the main thing was it was semi real time. So it wasn't as boring as you could maybe get into like a turn-based one would be. It's not as slow, I mean, not boring, but it was a little quicker combat, but it was still turn-based. So I think that might work for something where you have to give voice commands, because it's nice if your enemy conveniently gives you a chance to think. But
I would like it to be. I would almost like it to be like, so you have a phone. Most people are going to interact with their phone, and they're going to
for now until they all have until the Apple glasses, right?
That's an interesting point.
That's like,
see, you're adding scope. You're already adding scope.
We have an episode called that. We have an episode called Scope Creep or something like that.
We got like three platforms, and now you're adding a fourth.
Anyway,
it has to be on Vision Pro.
So we got
that would be amazing.
So we got
that would actually be
just
amazing.
Like punches through your wall.
Well, I did think what would be really cool, and Aaron, you probably would not get this reference, but like I kept saying, oh, it'd be great to do Gundam, but like from the cockpit. And then you would have like a whole visor, or you would have like a whole cockpit screen, and you would have like all the UI. In that world, like UI is like excessive.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you don't infringe on any copyrights.
We'll just call it Bundum or something.
There's a good episode
Oh man.
title.
Okay.
Fundum,
anyway,
Fundum, how about that?
So we at one point we were talking about the pod history here. So this is
we
prehistory.
went back in time.
Okay. Yeah, so we were after Pickle Jar, where we were doing Pickle Jar, and then we kind of got into Vision Pro experimentation for a long time. And like we have hot shader action happening here in August of 2023.
Yeah, I got into metal shaders.
Yeah, we're doing shades. An avalanche of ads. This is one of the ones where I think we've mentioned this multiple times. This is one of my favorite concepts, the avalanche of ads concept from Aaron. He using the Vision Pro. He's like, you know what they're gonna do? They're just gonna create like, you just have this ads and ads and ads until we just get buried in like an avalanche of ads.
But you'd actually need users for that.
Yeah.
Well,
burn. It's true though. Are there more users of Vision Pro or purchasers of iPhone Air?
Who knows?
You know what's funny?
Because no one apparently wants iPhone Air.
You joke about it, but apparently the iPhone Air is actually popular in China.
Nice. Well, I just know that they're like supply chain people are like, oh, they cut orders and whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, that makes sense.
Culture's vanilla prompting. We started getting into a lot of AI stuff too. Even back in 2022. As soon as like, way back, at least in 2023,
whatever ChatGPT launched.
Yeah, was ChatGPT 2023 or 2022?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, as soon as ChatGPT was out, and I was using like Bing a little bit earlier because I didn't have an account, and ChatGPT was like barely functional in the beginning whenever I tried to go to it. But this is also the era where we got to, I think, what is it ranked as? Our second most popular episode ever, and the only one more popular was our 2025 prognostications, which is just us predicting VC for this year. Which is, I don't know why it went so popular, but just behind that is our other most famous episode number 55, Universal UI. This is, I think, our claim to fame on the pod. If anything ever catches on in the tech world, any concept were to catch on that we could say we were one of the originators, because it's not that original of an idea, is the idea that AI is mostly useful to create a quote-unquote universal UI, like the chat-based UI, chat-based interfaces, going to be useful for building a user interface that's like ubiquitous, that, allowing you to just talk to your computer, like Star Trek, and have it do contextual like things that are like in your apps. I think that's what we were talking about. So of course I didn't put really many notes in here to help me remember what we talked about. So, but we think that, but I think Universal UI was a good, I think it's a good, I still think it's kind of the direction we're going, like useful LLM based technology for normal people. It's like, if intents work, if you can ask, and you see this with like the latest headset, the Android headset that just got released or is about to come out, they just did reviews on, where they integrated Gemini into everything, where it can see your screen, you can ask about your screen. That is kind of along the lines of this. And also, I haven't tried anything. Does Tahoe have like the Siri intent stuff, like where you can ask it, or the Spotlight? Is it integrated in Spotlight where you can certain apps you can kind of have it to do things and the app will do stuff? Wasn't that am I imagining that? Wasn't that a feature that they announced?
Sounds like it, but I don't remember.
What is, I want to be able to go to Excel and be like, make me a pivot table. I just want to say that and have it do it because it's already a feature in Excel. And I just don't know where the buttons are. So I should be able to ask for something, have the intent be linked to the buttons, and have the buttons be pressed for me. Not literally, but the API is called, And that would make computers way easier, but it doesn't actually, it doesn't mean an LLM is replacing regular software, which I think is kind of ludicrous. So it means you still have your regular software, you're just able to use it more effectively. And I do see that. I see that. I think that's what's happening now in a lot of ways. Although they're also going off on weird tangents with agents and stuff that I think is a lot of hooey at the moment.
It is sort of weird of like they're talking about like now you don't have to wait for somebody to make an app for you. You can make your own app, right? And maybe that makes sense from like a widget level of type of apps or something that's just very simple and straightforward. I feel like I wonder if a widget type interface makes more sense in this context because there's always like this ethereal black. It's always like this white space, and then you got one UI at a time that just pops up.
Well,
and then long series of texts.
When people are talking about that today, it seems like they're talking about as vibe coding, like using a vibe coding platform to just generate a bespoke web app. And all the web apps are purple with gradients and big buttons. They all look like garbage.
They gotta be glowing gradients,
But it is true if you want to make like a one-off simple app. You want to make like the app I always see them demoing is like, here's a child making a flashcard app. I swear, I think I've seen that more than once. One of these companies.
But it's like here's I made Tetris.
Yeah, or like Tetris, something like, oh, this is really impressive. But it's like, it's impressive that a computer program can just spit out usable code like this. But it's because there's a gazillion examples of that exact thing that exists in the world. It's impressive we were able to compress it into a function, essentially, really complicated, multi-layered kind of one-way function that can spit out useful code in the end. Anyway, I think today people are using these things or the idea of build your own app right now is implemented like more like these web apps, these like one-off web app things. But before LLMs, there were places like Glitch. Wasn't that what it was called? Glitch?
Well,
I think recently went out of business or changed or whatever. And like the idea was like there were other places where you could have kind of a more simplified environment for like building apps, like building scriptable or using like a scripting language or something to build an application, have it automatically be published. And now you can pretty easily build stuff and get it automatically published to like Vercel or something. It's a lot easier now than it was even 2022, 2021 when we started.
I mean, is the goal to like, because I know one of the things that's kind of interesting is that the tension about what modern day app development is like, is your app going to be left behind because, a ChatGPT app or whatever, I forget is it Pulse or is it Perplexity or one of those apps that will like has its own like, okay, make me a weather app, right? And it will just generate that or go to my own
weather on
internal
iOS
web.
18.
Yeah, or just, right. Or they have like little code snippets or app snippets, right? Of their own internal app snippets that you can access. That, here's an alarm clock, and then voila, you can have access to it whenever. You just have to ask. Like, is that the future of UI? And if so, like, I feel like it's a limited level, the minimum amount of like tweaking that most users will tolerate.
Yeah.
Before it becomes borderline useless.
Yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near a time where completely non-technical people are going to be able to are using these tools to build like really like, I mean, I can see people building like these simple kind of apps and stuff for themselves to a degree, but they're not like polished things that you would, build a business on or something.
Right.
But
right.
I mean, that doesn't mean the stuff's not useful. You can, I still don't think most people who like have a Mac, for instance, are even remotely interested in trying to quote unquote build an app, even if they're just talking to ChatGPT. It's just not, I think, something in the mental space of most people. They want to download an app or something. They want to maybe ask the computer, like, do this and have it figure out what app to work. I'm not sure that besides like us, like techie people and more like advanced non-programmer users, like I don't know how many people are really trying to build stuff.
I just need these people to vibe code
even vibe coding,
a better After Effects.
That is the best frigging term.
Better Lightroom. You know what? Just replace every Adobe product. You should just be vibe coding a alternative for that. Can you do that?
This is correct. You're hitting the nail on the head here. A lot of this talk about, we're just gonna have the LLMs build stuff for it. It's like, well, build something that professionals use to make money.
Something
right
useful,
now. Build a replacement
please.
for Lightroom. If you could vibe code a replacement for Lightroom, you would just make all the money. But you can't do that
with
because
the
it's way
stupid
too
Hello World stuff, right?
It's way
Put
too
your
complicated
tokens to good
that.
use. Put your tokens to good use, okay?
Yes. Yeah, build Lightroom. Replace Lightroom. Make sure it's 100% compatible with the Lightroom catalog, though. That's the hard part.
Yeah, see, make sure you prompt for that.
Make Photoshop. Make a replacement Photoshop that works with like how many decades of Photoshop code that's in there.
Tell you what, make Photoshop but not shitty. How's that?
No.
Excuse my French.
Even Adobe
make
can't
Photoshop
do that,
but
man.
not doo-doo.
But I'm looking through our stuff.
Make After Effects but not crash.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I'm looking through this, and during this era here, when we started doing Vision Pro, and then we started doing a lot of like AI experimentation, we started talking about like other things in the space of like going indie and apps that we like, and little technical topics like real world Swift data. Number 64 was a popular episode as well that we had, where I think it was mostly just me talking about building a little feature with Swift data, right? Oh yeah, I was trying to. Probably me ranting about this because I was trying to sync a bunch of data and it was like really, really slow.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I never actually got that to work. I gave up on it. And then there's still no solution that I'm aware of for Swift data to work the way I wanted it to in that scenario. So interesting. But we talked about vibe coding after this. I mean, we're already in 2024. We kind of, because we do it every 2 weeks, it goes kind of quick. We had Joe, our most famous guest, maybe, or second most famous. I don't know, it's up there. Joe Smolinski and Muhammad Azam are our two most famous guests, I would say.
Yes.
But Joe is special because we've known Joe for a long time.
Yes, Joe is awesome. Shout out to you,
Joe's amazing. Joe. And I just saw him in the Slack with another app that he's working on. But he was there with the Last Word, a journal app for tracking cocktails. Is that still available? Because I was actually looking for that the other day on my phone. I couldn't remember what it was called because I have like 150,000 apps on my phone, and I was like I was trying to figure out, like, I wanted to order a cocktail, right? And I wanted to order something new that I hadn't had before, so I wanted to like use his app to look up recipes or something that was in there, but I couldn't find it on my overburdened phone. But it's called The Last Word because it's such a clever name. Don't name your apps too clever, then we can't find them, us users.
Jeez, especially when you're talking about searching for the app. Like when I made the dividend calc app, that shot up to the top of the search because there's not many things
in there, and dividend is there.
Dividend, right? Like, yeah, it's very specific. It's very direct to what it's designed to do.
Yeah, we also went into like we went into a bunch of stuff about basically things that we were working on outside of this thing, just little things, and also talked about you talked about an episode in 74. Project Flop, where you were, which is a great name. It was a failed game jam experience and lessons learned.
Well, I've had plenty of those.
We talked about monetization strategies, design systems, and we ended 2024 with a look back on hardware, software, and developer trends, including a lot of Vision Pro stuff. Again, like 2024 is a lot of Vision Pro, along with like I think we were starting to get into the AI LM stuff. But it was really like, honestly, after we kind of dropped Pickle Jar because like Vision Pro kind of distracted us, we were kind of meandering until this year. Honestly.
Wow.
Because then our most popular episode, January of 2025 prognostications, where we just talk about dreams of the future of Apple intelligence and Vision OS and local LM models. And then after that is when we launched Sleep Walk Run, which was episode 81, and that's what we originally, that was our code name for our fitness app. And so we started on February 3rd.
Name.
Yeah, well, I know. Now we're stuck with it in the SKU. But and we got it launched September 30th. So how many months is that? From February
Almost
to September.
3 times longer than it took to
for Kanji
like
Love.
8 months or something. Yeah. So but that's because we started from scratch and we had a lot of things that took up time and stuff. We document all this in the last few months, but it's kind of amazing. So we got 2 apps launched. We worked on 3 and a bunch of little pieces of stuff, and we talked about a lot of different topics. So that's not bad. That's not bad for if you consider we're doing it for 4 years. One app, we got 3 apps out of 4 years. That's not bad actually, considering how long, and because not all apps even succeed.
3. Yeah,
2 out of 3. We got 2 launched out of 4 years, but we did actual work on 3.
Yeah,
that's not bad
true.
Considering how often software projects fail in when you actually have money behind them. And not just a couple hours here and there every week.
I mean, I guess what's kind of funny was the motivator for this particular app was trying to get this into the Ship-a-Ton contest, which we didn't win anything for, but that's another story.
Yeah, well, I think that goes to show you that if you have some kind of end goal that forces a time constraint, that really does help you get stuff done. Now, I don't recommend doing that all the time or from the very beginning, because I mean that was we still haven't gotten an update out since then, because I think, and I haven't pushed for it either, because I think we all needed a break. Culture has family and stuff right now, and I think that push, people talk about toxic environments and software in Silicon Valley and stuff. They talk about these the death march to get something out. I wouldn't go as far as say it's always a toxic thing, but it's not something you can do all the time. You need to, if you're going to do it, you do it for a little while. And we knew we went into it willingly for a few weeks, a month, and we're going to do this. We're going to get it out, and then now we're taking a little breather, and then we're going to come back and do an update, and then probably move on to a different project, maybe entirely. But since it's launched in my account, I'm going to keep working on Bento Fit because I need it. Yeah. I would like it to make more than $4.34.
This is technically your first app, right?
That actually got out the door. If I don't know what did you have enough access to see the failed apps that are in there now? There was several other app ideas in there that that hadn't gone anywhere yet, dating back years, years and years. It was there's one that I'm still kind of in development. There was another one from years ago that was a TV type tracker app back when those were popular, and we made progress on that, and then we kind of stopped.
I feel like I remember you working on it, to be honest. Was that during Side Project Saturday?
Yeah, we were working on that, and there was a lot of stuff we were working on, but this is the first one I actually got out the door, so that's really great.
Yeah. I'm
very happy that it's out the door, that's actually in there. It's more of a portfolio app at the moment than it is a functioning business. It's still, we talked about it before recently, so I want to rehash it all. You can go back to the last couple episodes we talked about future plans for this. But there's still a lot more we can learn just by having this app available in the store as a full-fledged iOS app, so on the primary platform. Everything from marketing and advertising stuff, we can explore those areas. We can explore all kinds of stuff in the App Store and App Store optimization and web design, even how do you actually get how do you get people to click the button to download your app, all that kind of stuff. We have that option now, and that's one of the other things I wanted to bring up about building these side projects, is that besides whether they actually make you money or they're a good portfolio project, whatever, having one of these things launched especially just means you can then build it on top of it. It gives you a place to start, because you can't just go and look at how to do App Store optimization. You don't have an app, and so you can just jump onto these other kinds of topic areas. So I think we're going to be exploring that a lot. But I know we're about out of our self-imposed time for this. So before we go, is there something else you wanted to Coulter, you wanted to talk about before we wrap up episode 100? I know it's been a really fascinating journey for the 5 listeners that might be left after meandering into the Big O robot app.
I feel like that was the highlight.
Look up Big O. It's a good anime. That was probably the highlight. It was the highlight episode.
If you like,
have to pick a chapter.
Chris Tim Batman, it kind of falls in that kind of.
That anime was so good. I love that anime.
Right, but I'm kind of. Yes, I am kind of curious. Do any of you have like a particular side project that you're curious about working on, or any particular genre that you're looking? Genre is probably a bad word, but like anything that is interesting you now that you're thinking, oh, this might be my next side project.
Well, there's something I'm working on with Mike, who we worked on did some on the website with this. He has this app we prototyped some stuff. We actually vibe coded some prototypey slop to proof of concept.
That's fine.
So it's a good use of the LLMs app. But he
How
has
much
this
did
whole
you
thing.
spend?
It was his ChatGPT accounts, $20 a month.
God. Okay,
So-
not too bad. Not too bad.
No, but it was he has this thing about generating haikus, which I know a lot of people. We even saw that as a demo, which is really hilarious. WWDC had a demo of generating haikus, but he wanted to do haiku. It's like a little app that does like haikus for movie reviews. Which now that I've said it, someone's going to vibe code the app and be done with me. No, but he has this whole thing, and he actually went through effort of like figuring out how to image generation from like ChatGPT's image gen with his own creative work, handwork to like make backgrounds, because we wanted to be able to match a background with the type of movie you're reviewing, and then you could get, and then the idea would be the LM would be used to prompt you to give it to give it certain information. Well, at first we weren't even thinking about using an LM, but you would prompt the user questions to answer about the movie that then would be fed into the LM to generate the haiku. Or you could write it yourself. And then we also had ideas for like a leaderboard and that kind of things like that. That was one idea that was in there. I kind of like the idea of the Rock'em Sock'em Robot app too. That never finished.
It always comes up every few years.
I know, that's what I was saying. We should just build it. Pickle Jar. I think the Pickle Jar To Do is not a bad one, but that's such productivity apps. I don't know. That's like the most overdone area. But I think we kind of had something there. Maybe we can relook at that. But
yeah, maybe.
or games are really hard. We have to really, really like a simple game.
I do want to revisit and maybe even figure out a way to use foundation model to integrate back into Godot.
I would say thematically, I would say I want to work on something that uses an LMs as a part of the app, not like as a tool for building an app, but I mean like as part of the app. Like I've found that the apps that use this well, Food Nom I've talked about, which is continuing to refine their user interface for using LLMs, really good. And I think some of the demos from WWDC about the foundations model have me interested in trying to find some use for it too.
I just wanted. Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, do you want your app to be able to be used by an LLM?
Ooh, that's an interesting question in itself.
How does that
we could
work?
go and build a ChatGPT app or whatever they're called now.
I don't know about that. But
well, what do you mean by have it be used?
Just that you have features that can be accessed.
Oh yeah, if I'm not imagining, if I didn't hallucinate the feature that I keep thinking is supposed to exist in Tahoe, maybe we could build something use that.
I think if it doesn't exist now, it's coming in a future update.
Maybe it's part of the Apple Intelligence stuff that didn't launch
I think so.
Because I thought it was like basically an app intent concept, and you would, but a more advanced one. I don't know.
I mean, isn't that what the whole point of the integration to ChatGPT? I forget, was it which version of, is it Pulse or is it the actual just ChatGPT itself that has like integrated into Zillow or into?
Oh, now they have a browser that does all this stuff, man.
Right, but that's like a different tangential project.
OpenAI has had multiple versions of their own kind of app store thing, and I think the latest one, it just came out. And you can build like, I don't even know what they call it anymore, but they've had multiple versions of building little apps on their system.
Right.
Then ChatGPT can then like use. Like,
right. Is that using like MCP basically to be the one to like do that cross integration?
They have like a whole UI library now.
If only I had like a computer and internet access and I could just like look up this stuff.
Well, that would be helpful. So while you're taking a look at that,
God forbid OpenAI advertise their offerings clearly. Like what,
I guess
like, what is this stuff? What is this? Either website's like probably generated with it.
For sure. I guess for me, I'm trying to sort of get myself into two categories, which is obviously games, which is my, sort of like my hobby slash desirable aspirational goal of building. One of them is getting back into that. Remember that tower game, or not tower game, the jumping game we called, I think it was called Fortune or something like that. But like the whole point was like for you to like escape certain doom as you jump these cliffs. And you're going upwards and you're trying to avoid the lava coming up from underneath.
See, that could be a good side project to work on if you wanted other people to help you, because like that sounds cool.
And then there's an LLM type. Originally it was going to be like a version of like a fake LLM that it was like had scripted like phrases that would use the actual voice commands to like what was it, speech to text to like give you like really shitty crappy like it would take common like phrases and just slowly turn into like another version of Portal's character, but like a more I don't know, like very cynically corporate kind of perspective. But now I'm thinking it would be kind of great to like run it through a filter, like a foundation model filter of like make this sound more corporate. And it would just give you like really like clean, very, very like corporate type of responses for you to try to convince you to get more money as you try to escape certain doom. And then just become more unhinged as you go up every level. And the goal would be like an endless runner trying to escape certain doom.
Yeah, I remember this idea. Yeah. A game might be our next thing, maybe. We haven't tried building one of them.
And then the other thing is hardware. So Raspberry Pi, something undetermined, but I'm trying to get into hardware. So that's my other side project.
I used to build computers and stuff back in the day. I could get into hardware too.
Yeah. So, but
we just got to pick one now.
Yeah, we just got to pick one.
Well, I think I mean we're gonna have to decide off stream, I guess, what we're kind of doing for the rest of the year, and what we want to do when we come back, because we're probably gonna take like a vacation sometime before the end of the year. We'll probably wrap things up for like the season, so we can have a break during the holidays. But we'll have at least one more episode, probably more than one, I think. Yeah. So
maybe before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So yeah. Cool. So I guess that was episode 100. I mean, that was exciting.
Yes.
Hope we can do many more in the future. I won't promise 100.
100? No, let's go 100 more.
I've said at least 100 more. I'm going to say 1,000 more. How many?
We have to at least have like done 3 projects by then. 3 new projects.
3 more projects. We got to get like one.
3 more years.
Yeah, we got to get 1 to 2 projects done per year.
Yeah, we'll just let AI do them.
Technically, there's just 3 of us. We should really aim for 3 projects a year. If we were taking this seriously, the concept seriously, we would be like, we're going to do 3 projects a year. Each one takes a quarter of the year, and then we have the extra quarter for like vacation.
You are making a big assumption that we would take this very seriously.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. That's a perfect way for us to never make it to episode 200, because it would be like, no, I can't, burned out, can't do it. Even 1 per year would be pretty cool if we get 1. And I think we're going to mix in some interviews, and we'll mix in our other discussions. I think the pod has been going pretty well. We've gained some followers last year, and some listeners, so we appreciate you all who listen to the pod, and maybe someday we'll give you an easy way to communicate with us. Like
just show up to our meetups.
Yeah, just come to our meetups. You can yell at us.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Guys, stupid. Guys are dumb. You don't know anything.
And then like do a whole Zoom bomb and then leave.
Don't give them ideas.
Sorry. Well, let's finish up here. That's all we have for today. You can learn more about Philly Cocoa at phillycocoa.org. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. If you're feeling generous, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is. And share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. You know what? I was going to do a little promotion for AppJohns again, but I think I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit, even though appjohns.com is wonderful. I just did it. Sorry. Not a sponsorship. Not a sponsor promotion. How do we phrase that again?
Side project spotlight. I don't know. We've had multiple
but I just want to do one dad joke. One programmer dad joke. All right. Well, let me see here. What is a good one? What is a good one?
Dad joke 100 comes.
Dad joke 100. Okay. What do you get when a data file wakes up in a Linux shell with no memory of what it is?
What?
JSON born.
my God. JSON board, man.
That was a doozy, let me tell you.
That is the greatest. That is a great programmer dad joke to end episode 100 on. I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Until next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always. We'll just call it Bundum or something.